Okay, this is the G2C 9mm. I was out at the range today and I noticed that the trigger pull here was binding right about here. And I noticed that the trigger safety was not really uncocking it until it got to here. It kind of was annoying on the double action part. So what I did was, I don't care about this safety because I really don't use it. I mean, it's okay for people who are police. You don't want to shoot somebody, but I mostly target shoot. So what I did was I took this safety mechanism right here, slammed it all the way home, and I put a pin in over here to keep it there. Now the pawl in here is lifted up over the locking mechanism and it's free all the time. No longer do you have to pull halfway for it to release. And that halfway point was the bind. If you shoot this gun a lot, you'll notice that there's a binding right about halfway through the trigger pull. So I wanted to eliminate that little sticking part, that binding part. So I put a pin in over here, drilled a hole, put a pin in, and now, as you can see, it's smooth as a whistle. Nice, nice, no bind. Used to bind right about here, and then there's the stop point here, then you fire, but it used to bind about halfway because of this stupid safety pawl. Taurus doesn't really do a good job on that. And I think it's even stated quite a bit on the internet, people complaining about the trigger and replacing the whole trigger because of that. Now, that's not a big deal to replace the whole trigger, but I thought this would be an easy way to do it, and it's working just fine. So if you have a G2C and just want to, without going through all the work of taking it apart, you can just drill a hole and put a pin in there, and came out very nice. Hope it works out for you. Okay, after you install the pin, if you elect to do so, I mean, that's also makes this gun reversible, so you can return it back to its original factory specs at any time by removing the pin. But one more thing I want to bring your attention to, this striker guide, or the firing pin guide right here. This guy right here goes back and forth, and that rides inside a plastic guide. And that really needs to be cleaned, or else it just goes back and forth, and that will bind up if you have any dirt inside there. That must be really, really clean for that to smooth action for your smoother trigger pull. So make sure this bad boy here is taken out and cleaned real good so it slides back and forth, as I just showed you. Now they sell a stainless steel one, probably be a better deal. Plastic is never good. But you know, it's up to I shoot 5,000 rounds for this thing. So plastic might work all right, but the thing about it is very important, keep it clean. Keep this whole mechanism in here clean. You can take it out, comes right out very easily, and clean it up. Don't over-oil it, whatever you do, just use a light, very light, thin coating of anything, a lubricant. You don't need to do that, because that only brings dirt, attracts carbon and dirt. So that's another item you might want to look at, besides the pin, right here, and this striker mechanism right here. Okay, I want to put the rack back on. Best way to do this is to line up your guides. I'm doing this with one hand here. I don't know if I can even do it. Yeah, once you line up the guide there, turn to this one hand. Okay, so after you put the rack on, let's test out the firing and smoothness. Look at that. Nice and smooth. No binding at all. That's what you want. At least that's where I want it. Make sure your chamber is empty. I've been working on it, so. That's right here. Smooth. Smooth. Anyway, if that's interests you, put a little pin in there. Keeps that safety back so you have a smoother trigger. Have a good day.